Approach, good afternoon.
Sorry, what's current traffic over? 30 out of 21-6, descending via the P2, the runway 35 left transition with Victor.
Clear 130, never approach, expected approximately 35 left, reduce speed 250.
Speed 250, looks like 35 left, zero lanes 130.
Guys, 5166, advise data is Victor.
We'll pick up Victor, Sky 5166.
5166, reduce speed now to 250, then resume public speed.
250 now, Sky 5166.
Clear wings 130, second was blocked, advise data is Victor. Contact.
582, maintain, what is the speed?
170.
Maintain that speed or greater, flex at 582.
Okay, that's speed or greater, thank you, 582.
Approach on 120.8, we'll see you.
20.8, Sky 691.
0, vector final approach course, descend and maintain 2000.
290 on the heading and down to 12000, Delta 982 heavy.
Denver approach, Sky 691, 14,400, descending via logger 235 right, Victor.
5091, Denver approach, good afternoon.
It's 582, do you have the airport 10 o'clock and 10 miles?
We do, FlexJet 582.
Sky 5787.
5787, turn left heading 020, join final, clear visual approach, runway 35 left.
020 to join and clear for the visual 35 left, Sky 5787.
582, make it a heading of 010.
010, thank you, 582.
Sky 5946, contact approach 123.85.
946. Now approach at Sky 5946, 186, descending via T-bar with 35 left.
Sky with 5931, maintain 210 knots or greater, descend and maintain 10,000.
210 or greater, descend and maintain 10,000, Sky 5931.
Sky 5946, Denver approach, fly heading 050, vector final, maintain 13,000 at present speed.
Heading 050, 13,000, Sky with 5946.
Sky with 5375, turn 10 degrees right.
10 right, Sky 5375.
Sky 5787, got company converging at 2 o'clock.
Sky 5787, okay.
5787, cross diamond at 170 knots or less.
I'm at 170 or less, Sky 5787. 15-3, descending via the crash information, Victor.
4653, Denver approach, good afternoon.
At the traffic inside on to the right, Sky 5787.
Sky 5787, additional traffic at 9 to 10 o'clock will be converging for the west side.
288, sir, established on the straight end for the left side.
This side, Sky 46, 97.
1000, Sky 5375.
Build side, Sky 5272.
5272, flighting 325, join final, cleared visual approaching at 35 right.
325, clear visual 35 right, Skywest 5272.
Skywest 4697, contact tower 133.3.
5 left localizer, Sky 5375.
Approach clear wings 130 out of 16.7, descending via the C2 for 35 left.
Trans 130, Denver approach, delete speeds on the arrival, maintain 250 knots.
259, clear wings 130.
Sky 5931, the airport 10 o'clock, 18 miles, turn left heading 020.
Up there heading 020, we got the field and set, Sky 5931.
Sky 5931, join final V heading 020, clear visual approach runway 35 left.
Visual 35 left, 020 heading to join, Sky West 5931.
Sky 5375, advising you the field total 1 o'clock, 22 miles.
Insight, Sky 5375.
Sky 5375, maintain 210 knots, clear visual approach runway 35 left.
210 knots and clear visual 35 left, Sky 5375.
Okay. Sky 5931, maintain 210 knots or greater, slower shortly.
210 or greater, Sky 5931.
Sky with 5946, descend to maintain 12,000.
12,000, Sky West 5946.
To maintain 8,000.
Down to 8,000, 325, join the localizer 35 right, Delta 982 heading.
Skywest 1591, to maintain 9,000.
90,000, Scott 5091.
Sky 5272, contact tower 133.3.
Over tower, Skywest 5272, zip.
Diamond, Scott 5931.
90,000.
9,000, Sky 4663.
Sky 5166, heading 280, vector final approach course, defend and maintain 12000.
280, 12,000, Scott 5166.
Delta 982 heavy, report 1 o'clock, 14 miles.
Inside Delta 982 heavy.
Delta 982 heavy, fly heading 325, join final, clear, visual approach, running 35 right.
325 on the heading, join the final, clear for the visual, 35 right, Delta 982 heavy.
7 at 10 o'clock, converging to the west side.
Scott 5931, roger.
210, Sky 4663.
Sky 5272, contact tower 133.3.
Sky 5375, reduce speed to 190.
190, Sky 5375.
Skywards 130, turn left heading 050 to set maintain 2000.
That's 050, 12,000, clear wings 130.
Alaska 623, Denver departure, radar contact.
3.3, good day.
Over to tower, Scott 5931, whenever you want.
Sky 5946, turn left heading 015, intercept V35 left localizer.
Heading 015, intercept 35 left localizer, helm still inside, 5946.
Sky 5946, join final on the 015 heading clear, visual approach runway 35 left.
05 join, clear visual, 35 left, Scott 5946.
Sky 5375, reduce speed to 170.
Photo 170, Sky 5375.
Forty-six 63, reduce speed to 170.
170, Sky 4663.
333, Sky 5375, we'll see.
Sky 5946, maintain 170 knots or greater until Diamond. There'll be company RJ heading direct converging.
130 Gary Diamond, looking for company, Scott 6946.
Fairwings 130, reduce speed to 210, then to set maintain 10,000.
210 speed, then 10,000, clear wings 130.
35 right.
325 to join, clear visual, 35 right, Scott 5981.
16 left, commuter 4331.
Clear 020, clear visual, 34 right, remanage 2214.
4663, flight 325, join final, clear visual approach, running 35 right, maintain 170 knots, no problems.
Alright, 325, clear for the visual, 35 right, and 170 front, Sky 4663.
American 1316, Denver departure, radar contact.
Ground caution rate turbine 6.5 behind a heavy Boeing 767.
Alright, guys, wake turbulence, 170 to front, Scott 691.
Level 230.
Denver Sky 5113's final 240, descending via the AO with the 16 left transition.
Sky 5113, Denver approach, expected visit approach 216 left.
Force like visual, 16 left.
Flight 4663, county traffic, 11 o'clock and 2 miles, 9600 established on the street in RJ7.
Alright, we're looking Sky 4663.
Team climb and maintain flight level 230.
5946, 160 knots or greater, fine until Diamond Tower 133.3, good day.
60 Greater Diamond Tower, good day, Scott 6946. 35 right, Scott 5166.
5091, contact tower 133.3.
133.3, Scout 691.
Attention all Dev rails is Whiskey turn, now landing 165, 168, 17 right.
Connected to PilotEdge.
Alaska 623, contact Denver Center 125.9, good day.
Do you still need a 210 Scout 5166?
That's 5166 negative. That's 4663, contact tower 133.3.
Tower, good day, expect 4663.
That's 5166, traffic 11 o'clock, 4 miles, Airbus 9000, established on the street instead of parallel.
Insight, Scout 5166.
Hey guys. Got this dude walking around Arlington, just taking a stroll. Taking a stroll. He's gonna go get us some coffee and donuts. Go get our coffee and donuts, everybody. Did that gate open and close? I think that gate opened and closed. I never noticed that before. I'm gonna have to look back on this video afterward. I think it did. All right, let's get our weather injector connected and we'll refresh our clouds. He looks like he's mad. We're a bunch of gliders hanging out. Little construction area. All right, the weather is loaded, so let's go force weather reload. And then we'll go to traffic global. We'll lower that a tad, and we'll bring this up since we're flying GA today. And let me get this overlay working. 7 Lima Yankee. Hey Dave, caught your VOD from yesterday. Man, were you task saturated? Yeah, that was crazy yesterday. It was fun though. I liked it. It was definitely a challenge. You know, when you're trying to learn a new plane, and then I was set up for one way, and then the flows changed when I was halfway there. You know, if I was in the Airbus, it would have taken me 2 seconds to flip the flight plan. But yeah, no, it was fun though. I'm actually enjoying that aircraft. Actually enjoying it. I'm glad I went through all that trouble. I flew it last night too on VATSIM. And a matter of fact, Aviator was controlling Fort Worth last night when I flew into there. So he was like, "You can't get rid of me." Nice landing too. Yeah. Yeah, and I was reading that the ILS is botched only because the flight simulator makes it to where it's botched. That, you know, they're doing the best they can to get the ILS to work correctly, or the, you know, the glide slope. But they're kind of limited right now on what they can do because the sim is still on building blocks, you know. Beach 350, PilotEdge. Streaming. Austin, that's right. Yeah, and I actually told him last night, I was like, now I know your name because his name obviously was on the VATSIM client. GA time, yes sir. Yep, and we're gonna cover some GA stuff during our cruise today. I had some viewers talking about some PilotEdge stuff, so we're gonna cover that, and we're gonna cover an IFR clearance out of a non-towered airport and the various ways that you can depart under an IFR here at Arlington. So that's the plan for today. Do love the T-tail winglet style of aircraft. Yeah, it just looks very sporty. I agree. Eclipse Challenger to Beach 200. Yep. Yep. All right, let's go over here, and we've got a nice tailwind, so we're going to be hauling butt southbound from Arlington to Portland over Seattle. This is our IFR flight plan. SimBrief never really uses the proper one that I use under suggested routes, but this is the one I always file. So that's the one I'm going to stick with. And as always, could be subject to change. So we're in King Air. I'm going to add up the fuel. Bust out my calculator here. I bring 100 gallons of extra anyway. So 604 for trip, 563 to come back to Seattle if need be. And continuous is 219. Taxi is 200 pounds. So that equals 1586 divided by 6.5 is 244. So 244, half of that is 122. So 344 is our total gallons. Okay. Altimeter at Arlington is 3036 as of this thing. 3036, and the winds are 010 at 11, so plan a 3-4 runway takeoff. And Portland is currently landing east. So we're going to file our IFR. Don't need that. This is all correct. Arlington to Portland, we're going to cruise at 220, which is Class A airspace. Whenever you're in Alpha A airspace, you have to be under IFR. VFR is only under flight level 180. I would assume the same is true for like overseas where they have Alpha airspace at 5,000 in some cases, their transition level. But I'm not sure about overseas. That's actually a good question. I don't have the answer to. Maybe someone can tell me during this stream if VFR traffic is allowed in, say, England area at, say, 7,500 feet. Like, can you do VFR if the transition altitude is 5,000? I'm just used to the flying in the States, so I don't know. We're not doing this, obviously, so we'll get that on file. Is it going to go? There we go. And I'll bring up the map. All right. So I'll brief the flight once I get going. We are here. Flight plans on file. And I'm going to cover that later. All right, we'll come back to the sim. And Arlington is 30, 36. All right, my weather injector is accurate for once, so that's good. Yeah, that's one thing about my streams is, you know, you get all different types of aircraft. I fly it all. Some streamers fly strictly airliners and some fly strictly Cessna 172s, you know what I mean? Like and then some people fly just 738s or whatever they're called. But I fly pretty much everything except for slow. I don't usually fly slow planes. Slowest plane I think I fly is the Cessna 310, and even that thing cruises at 160 indicated, so I wouldn't even really say that's too slow. Let's pop open this engine door. Did someone die? I know that's tie downs, but all right, let's come up here. All right, we need 122. I think you can automatically download your FLP files from SimBrief into your Airsoft CRJ. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I did that yesterday. I think I showed how I do that yesterday, but yeah, that's the way I've been doing it. And the reason I've been doing it that way is not necessarily to save me time, is that it imports the winds for your climb, cruise, and descent winds. So in my options, I selected only the perf data will be taken in when I pull in a flight plan from SimBrief. So yeah, I've been doing that, and it's just like I said, strictly for the perf data. The SIDS and stars, I still choose to enter them in manually because they could change or be different than what's actually being used. So, but the perf data, like it brings in your fuel, your passenger count, it brings in your, only thing it doesn't bring in accurately is the cargo, but that's okay. Yeah, point it to the specific directory you want it to download to. Yeah, I was just manually doing it. There's a program you can download from SimBrief, and it will automatically install it to the right folder. But I'm kind of OCD, so I like doing it manually, but there's nothing wrong with doing it the other way. We need 50 gallons here. More efficient that way. Yeah. There's 50 gallons there. Remove the pitot covers in that intake. And we'll crank this up to even 100. ground is static so you don't catch stuff on fire. Gotta see if this guy walks back out that gate. $122. That says now download the FLP and just use a simple shell script to convert to FMS. Now he's talking about the Microsoft Flight Sim for specifically the Airsoft CRJ. That's what he's talking about. You fly it all you have to see you go hill coasting in a glider. Yeah, you probably won't. I'm not much of a glider person or stuff like that. Assuming he knows how to run a shell script. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. So, no. Yeah, that's the mark of someone not hearing the clear prop call, right? $122. All right, we are filled up. And let me see, what's the fuel cost here? There's no, I guess there's no fuel prices online. Interesting. All right, we'll check our fuel. Hook up the ground power unit. We'll check the oil. Crank that on. I almost didn't have to adjust the steering coming in here. Almost. Open up these windows. Control lock. Set the brake. And we'll set our controls here for engine start. All that is good. Parking brake is set. And we'll check our volts. We got 28 external, 22 on the battery. And now we will turn on the battery. Flip that up. And I need to reload the bindings. Battery on. Glider in sim is hard. So much of hand gliding is feeling the updrafts. The sim you can only go off dials to truly no climbing or descending. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I would imagine you would feel it. Like, even though you have a constant flow of, a certain speed of wind going across, hitting you in the face, you probably can still tell an updraft just by the G-forces put on a glider, right? Like, wouldn't it kind of like pull you up, like you would know you were hit by an updraft? Whereas in the sim, you don't feel it. So like you said, that's definitely a challenge in the sim world. And flying in the Microsoft Flight Sim for the last couple days, I've really noticed a huge difference in the way the wind hits control surfaces of the airplane. It just feels more authentic with like updrafts, and especially the biggest thing I noticed in that CRJ is the ground effect. When I come in for a landing, you know, the wings push the air down and then it bounces back off the ground and comes back up. And that's why you kind of float a little bit on the flare. I notice it 10 times more in the Microsoft Flight Sim, the ground effect at least, than I do on X-Plane. And they just have it dialed in, I guess, a little differently. So for that sim, you might feel the hang gliding a little bit more. Maybe it, or you know what you also might want to try is like a head movement plug-in for X-Plane, to where if you get an updraft, it might show, you know, differences in your view. All right, connect our Gentai. External power is blinking, so we'll turn that on. Clear out the cautions. Do a bus sense test. We got Gentai lights down here. Go ahead and reset that. Got 28 volts across the board. Good there. Inverters. I'll turn off these buses. 2 and 3. Those buses are working. Turn on our overhead lights, passenger seat belts, nav and tail floodlight. Now we'll do a emergency fuel cutoff valve check here soon. At least where we glide, we look for thermals, and they can be small in circumference or even super large. No real visual cues in western Kansas. Is that right, Kansas? No hills, so that thermal is only way to gain height. How do you look for it though? Like, how do you see a thermal? I guess you look for the clouds, right? I know clouds, when they have the shade, it creates updrafts, I think. And Delta, how you doing there, bud? Delta 134. Best gliding sim is Condor Soaring Simulator. Oh, nice. Yeah, you might want to check that out, Das. Sounds like, is that made specifically? Oh, I guess so. Condor Soaring. Yeah. All right, so we need to turn on our fuel pumps, and we've got plenty of fuel. So that turned off the low fuel pressure stuff. So we'll hit this, make sure it shuts the valve, because once it's shut, then you can hit the extinguisher to extinguish the fire if you had one. And same on the right side. Make sure it shuts it off. That comes up. So that's a good test. Turn those pumps off. Don't need them since they're pump driven. And we'll arm our oxygen and give our mask a test. And we'll check our warnings. And oxygen is 100. Battery bus in the up normal position. Engine anti-ice on for ground ups. It's time to load up our passengers. And Delta says, yeah, specifically for gliding, no hang gliders though, just the sailplanes. It simulates thermals and ridge lift very well and does a decent job at wave lift. Oh, wow. You learn to see it by various markers, even such as looking for vultures. Oh, it's a good idea. If over open fields, you can watch crops for rotation of winds. Oh, sweet. Yeah, you might want to check that out, Das. Sounds like Delta knows what he's talking about when it comes to that sim. All right, let's load up our passengers. So we're going to go with We're going to Portland, so we're going to go full load, but I need to adjust these weights so I can get the CG better. So I have weights that I use for this. So 400, 400, 360, 250, two very small people in the back, and 200 cargo. That puts our CG where it should be with our fuel, and all that's good. So we'll hit apply. Now we got everybody on board, and the CG is accurate. And you would do that in real life too, from what I understand. You would tell people where to sit depending on their body weight, and of course luggage and all that stuff. Turn on our baggage light. I'll go ahead and close our door. Seatbelt and those lights are on. Smoking, seatbelt lights. I'll sit down here, close us off, and we're about ready for engine start here. So engine start checklist. Let's make sure we got our volts. We are good on volts. We're going to remove our steps. We don't need them anymore. And we'll turn on our beacon light. Prop area is clear. Passengers are loaded. I'm going to start engine 1 here in a moment. Been years, but back in 2015, a group of 10 of us did do gliders on PilotEdge. Oh, sweet. We had a guy that used big gliders in real life, so he would always watch for the proper ridge, winds, and PE. We never had a crash, all made it back to the general planned area airport for landing. You know, I bet that happens in real life to where, like, since a glide, well, some gliders, a lot of the newer ones I've seen on YouTube have like electric motors. So I guess there's really no excuse with those types to be able to land where you want. And you're just using those other thermals and such to keep you afloat for a while. But before they had those electric motors, the winds could potentially carry you away from where you'd want to land, you know? And it's like, what do you do then? You just look for the closest airport or something? Or is pretty much every glider these days powered? Like, it's not even something people worry about. All right, let's crank up engine 1. So we're going to hit the ignition. And we're going to wait for 16. And I'm going to add some fuel to low idle. Check for hot start and hung start. ITT, got rotation in the turbine. Oil pressure is coming into the green. Turbine's over 50. ITT topped out at just under 700. Ignition off. Close that window. And we're going to go full power on the conditioner lever because we're going to need that to start engine 2. So we're going to disconnect our external power right here. It shows it's blinking. So we'll disconnect the ground power unit and then we'll reset Gen 1. Come up here. External power is now gone and we have 28 volts on the left generator. So now we are ready to start engine 2, same process. Waiting for 16 NG or N2, I don't know, low idle. Check for hot starts and hung starts. Turbine rotation, that's good news. Oil pressure is coming up. Turbine over 50, you can turn off the ignition. We topped out at 700. Turn that off. And I also need to turn up the sounds a little bit, I think. That should be a little better on the sounds. I had to turn it down because yesterday's stream. All right, we started engine 2. The ignition is off. Let's reset our gens. And we'll put our conditioner levers even. Keep our props above 1150. And we've got 28, 28, and we'll leave it on triple fed for that power. And we need to do a bus sense test, so we're going to be looking for Gentie lights down here. We got bus tie lights, Genties, so that is a good test. Go ahead and reset that. I'll clear out those cautions. I'm going to set up in our environment next. And that says there's a glider for XP that you think Aerobask makes. Has a monitor for gaining height of necessary. When my old man made it up to 15,000 feet on the front end of the storm, I remember you telling me about that. That was probably scary as hell. Barely breathe up there. Get the hypoxia. If I said that right, probably not. He ended up landing near Hayes. Was a 2.5 hour drive to pick him up. When you're a pure hang glider, you just find open field and then report location. You use long range radios, no cells back then. Oh wow. Yeah, that would have been exciting. Alright. Bleeds are 11 each. So we got 11 on the right. Turn that off. And we got 11 on the left. So we'll turn them both on. Environment to auto. Auto. Gyro suction and pneumatic pressure is both in the green. Cabin temperature is 60 degrees, so we don't have to worry about electric heat today. And we are ready to get our electronics loaded up. So we're going to turn on our inverters and then our EFIS and then the avionics. So I got inverters set. Those buses are out. We'll come down here to EFIS. Got those set. And then avionics will come online. And we'll turn on our radios here. We'll give our autopilot a check. Light switch, trim, rudder boost, I'll set heading, clear that caution. We'll trim for takeoff and I'll set 1 notch of flaps for takeoff. And we can turn on our furnace and coffee maker now that we have power. Check our E-lights. All E-lights are lit up. Slave our gyros. This one. And the first officer side. And now we'll grab our weather here at Arlington. Elevation 141, that comes into play for the altimeter. 141, so I'm guessing the altimeter would be somewhere around here, but we'll obviously check. So AWOS 135. 135.62. Turn on our comms. Switch that over. It's 3036. All right.
Visibility more than 10. Sky clear.
Actually, that makes more sense.
Point minus 5.
3036.
3036.
Because the elevation again is 141 feet, so that is right. Okay.
Wind 350 F11. Visibility more than 10.
And let me swap that back over to guard. And Arlington CTAF is 122.72. So we'll dial in CTAF. And we'll do a simulated phone call here to ATC, which is 122.2. So that acts as a phone call to our overlying controller, friendly neighborhood controller. There's an ultralight strip for you. All right, elevation is correct. We are heading 255, so avionics are correct. Coast Pilot, greetings from Portland. That's where we're heading, buddy. I am there for you. We had some wicked winds here earlier. Yeah, I saw that. It's still blowing, but not as bad as earlier this morning. Yeah, I saw that. Looks like there was some wind shear, so it should be a pretty sporty landing. Hopefully, I have to check to see if there's if all the runways are open. They've had some runway closings, so it might be a little sporty getting in there. But we'll make it work. We will make it work. All right. So we're going to take off VFR today and pick up our IFR in the air because the wind is nice. And the reason I want to do that, if I pick up my IFR now on the ground and if they place a hold on me, then that will mean, is that someone over there? No. That will mean that no one is allowed to take off or land at this airport under IFR until I take off. So to prevent a what is known as a IFR hold at this airport, which is one in, one out rule, I'm just gonna take off VFR and pick up the IFR once I'm in the air. So with that in mind, I'm gonna have to know which VOR to use for my location. And then the altitude naturally. So the other way you could do it, let's say it was like really, really cloudy and we needed an IFR departure. We could do that because this airport has the Arlington, it has a SID. If it doesn't have a SID, then you look up an ODP. But in this case, there is a SID. So if we wanted to take off IFR, then we would just file the Arlington 2 departure, which is real simple. You either take off north or south, and you climb to 800 feet, and then you make a left turn heading at 250, and then you would get vectored on this departure. So when you call in your clearance, you would tell them you're going to fly the Arlington 2 departure, so they know. Otherwise, they're just going to assume you're taking off VFR, and they won't worry. They'll just assume you're going to be flying on course. So that's how you would do it. You would only use this if you can not literally see, well enough. You would use this procedure. Otherwise, you'd use an ODP if one is listed. And Seattle departure handles this area, so that will be our phone call. if we had to recall Seattle departure to do this departure. But we're not going to do this departure, we're just going to do VFR departure. We got flight plan. Yeah. Catalog. Arlington to Portland. So we got Payne. Make sure this is what I filed. Should be Payne VOR to Victor 23, which we got here, to Seattle VOR. And then from there, we're going to go Buzo and then Crater 2 arrival. So we got Buzo, Crater 2 with our altitude restrictions already in there. And this is for the 28 right transition, so that's actually wrong. So we're going to select arrival and we're going to, we'll keep Buzo, but we're going to change the runway to 10 and we're going to load that. And then that will give us the proper transition for our arrival. Portland. Arrival, Crater 2. And we're landing east earlier, so that would be from Yiker to Voodoo to Duh, and then Nut. Otherwise, it would have taken me this way for landing west. So that's why you have to know which runway you want to go for this transition. So right now we're set up for the 10s, which will take us north or northwest, and then we'll circle and we'll get vectored for an approach. Although I may do an RNAV approach, we'll see. And that's all that we need for now. So we're going to do our transponder for VFR. Oh, Jesus. I think there's people outside. Alright, we're gonna climb to Scooter. Come here. We're gonna be heading south. Probably start off a little bit southwest. So we'll probably be flying west is evens, so we'll say 16 or 14. Yeah, there's dogs barking outside. Had to hit my table a bunch of times to get him to stop barking. It's just dogs were drove by and he's still barking. All right, let me see here. Your dog set off my dog. You did. Your dog could hear him, huh? Defend doggy alert. Yeah. Oh, looks like I missed your question. How can they guarantee separation from things they literally cannot see? What do you mean, Das, on that question? Oh, doesn't clear up VFR traffic though. Yes, you're right. That's what confused me at first, especially some VFR traffic never have transponders or are small enough to never show on radar. Right, that IFR hold, one in, one out, is strictly IFR. So you still have to look out for VFR traffic that is within the pattern because they're going to be on CTAF. So like if you're coming into an airport under an IFR approach, they're not talking to the VFR traffic in the pattern. They will only tell you if they see traffic in the pattern, but they're not talking to them. So you still have to, be aware of the traffic in the pattern, even though you're under an IFR. IFR is like That mainly comes into play is if the airport is locked down because of IFR, IMC conditions. If it's so cloudy that there is no VFR traffic, that's when it really comes into play about the one in, one out rule. That's the whole point of that rule, is because it's so cloudy that there is no traffic in the pattern. You know what I mean? So it's one in, one out. But that rule still applies even on a crystal clear day like it is today. So how can they guarantee separation from things they cannot see? Yeah, so they're not, like, if I were to file that departure out of this untowered airport, they can see other traffic in the pattern because of their radar, but they would just clear me to take off, you know what I mean? And I would fly the procedure. I am still, as the pilot, responsible for looking out for VFR traffic. That SID is just is like an obstacle departure, so as to make sure I don't fly into a mountain or something like that. So even though I may be taken off under an IFR clearance, under a SID, I'm still responsible for maintaining my own separation from VFR traffic when I'm under a untowered field. So that's how that works. All right, autopilot 14.5, and we'll set our heading for runway heading, which is apparently my computer is not going to work. Just say 34. 34, and I need the autopilot thing. We're going to go VOR first, and have data to winds, and I'm going to punch in a VOR, the pane VOR actually. I wonder if the pane VOR's frequency is listed on here. Yep, it is 110.6, so we'll do 110.6. Of course, this is an old Eric, but it's 15 miles away, so we'll see if that works. We'll use that as our location. We're already picking it up as identified, so that works. Okay. Not SimBrief, Navigraph charts has been giving me troubles. It might just be my laptop. I think my laptop times out. It's a very old laptop. I complain about it a lot. I just need to get a new one. All right, decision altitude, not gonna worry about that. If it was cloudy, I might worry about a decision altitude for this airport if I needed to come back for whatever reason, but like for an instrument approach. Engine ice is already on. We're going to do a auto ignition check, so we'll pop those on. And these lights will extinguish with power, which it does. Do windshield anti-ice on, low. Prop de-ice is auto, which is in the green. Turn it back off, and now it's back down there. Now do a surface de-ice test. So for this, we need full power on our condition levers. And we're going to look for a wing and tail boot check on this de-ice. So de-ice wing, and then the tail will come second. There's the tail. That was a good check. Let's back those up. That's a surface de-ice test. Now we need to do a ground idle stop check. So 1500. Turn off the auto ignition. Ground idle 1500. And then without moving the throttle, I'm gonna let go of that switch. You know, it's going back to idle without moving the throttle. So that worked. Now we'll do an auto feather test, which is similar, except we're looking for AFX lights up here. All right, we got auto feather lights. Bring props up to 1500 and we'll feather each one. That's a good feather on the left. Feather the right. Now it's a good test, so we'll go ahead and arm our auto feather. And we'll do a cabin pressure check next. Not necessarily, we won't have CTAF on hang gliders. You can land and take off without audio in untowered airports that are not in mode C. Right, that's what I was saying, that it's the pilot's responsibility for untowered airports to look out for VFR traffic at all times. And I would assume that would apply for hang gliders or anything in the pattern. But I don't know anything about hang gliders or gliders at all. Of course, I'm talking about taking edge case here. Yeah, I need to update my Eric now that I'm doing IFR stuff. I'm on 2019 data. Yeah, sounds like this GTN I'm on. GTN's about a year old. But yeah, you definitely want to update your nav data for IFR for sure. All right, cabin pressure. We are at Delta 0. And we are at an elevation of almost 200, so we'll say 2 minus 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, so minus 300. Minus 300 elevation, we'll do a test. And the test will give us about an 800 foot per minute descend. Or close to it. It's just showing that it's pressurized. And we're going to, I filed flight level 220, so we'll set it for 1,000 foot above with a cabin rate at about 500 feet per minute, which is about your 10 o'clock position on that white dot. Pitch trim rudder boost is up, heading is armed, altitude armed rather. Altitude is armed. Cabin pressure is set. Check our fuel again. We're still running off of auxiliary for ground ops, so we got plenty of fuel. And we'll do an EFIS test here. All right, do our taxi light, Rico lights. And we'll do auto ignition. Update our weather here. I think somehow there we go. 33.
Wind 340 at 15. Visibility more than 10.
The weather changed a little bit.
Sky clear. Temperature 15.
Winds 340 at 15, so it's still to the north. So we'll set the course for the winds, which is 340. So I'm going to set the pointer for the winds.
Sky clear. Temperature 15. Dew point minus.
And I'm not going to worry about using this simulated phone call. We'll have to call the overlying controller. So that would be Seattle approach, I guess. .4. See if I hear anybody on this frequency. I'll put this in beta mode. So that would be top right button. All right, props are in beta. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything, so we'll just go back to CTAF. Yeah, we're squawking altitude for VFR already. Flight plan is entered. Windshield wipers work in case we run into some rain. Make sure these lights stay out now. If anything pops up, there's an issue after you do that test. And we are ready to taxi. Reset track IR. And redo or undo the brake. Probably would help to get rid of the chocks. Alright, why am I not going anywhere? Yeah, that was weird. Alright. Goes this guy walking around again. He's just walking around, minding his own business. I usually plan on Sky Vector and Avere, so current map's there for free. Yeah, Sky Vector's free, and well, Navigraph isn't free, but it gives you Navigraph is what I use for stuff overseas. Just because you have charts for all over the world. Speaking of overseas, I'll be starting a new series with the CRJ, which will be a world tour. Like I'm going to be going to the Eiffel Tower in Paris. We're going to be visiting the Great Pyramids in Egypt and stuff like that. So it should be pretty fun. Travel the world in the new sim because it's a beautiful sim, and that's the main thing I wanted to do. Is I wanted to get everything set up so I can fly that CRJ online, but one of the main things I want to do with it is travel and see places that I haven't seen. Because I didn't want to, download a bunch of ortho for X-Plane just to visit landmarks overseas for one time, but with a new sim I don't have to do that, which is nice. Alright, it's before taxi. Arlington traffic, King Air 1399. We're taxiing to runway 34 on Alpha, Arlington traffic. Didn't know someone at Arlington had a MiG. Yeah. I wonder if there's a museum or something here. An air museum that would have a MiG here. Ugh. So the world tour and your Cessna prop? No. No, what my idea to do with the CRJ, since I want to do the world tour, but I want to do something I enjoy flying, and I enjoy, as you know, complicated airplanes. Airliners are complicated. Even this King Air is very complicated. So because of that, we're going to do the world tour in the CRJ, but it would be shorter flights. So it won't be like long flights or anything. Like the one that I have planned to go to the pyramids, it's only like a 100 nautical mile flight. So I'm going to fly the CRJ online on VATSIM until I get close to where I want to go, and then I'm going to disconnect because I'm going to pause the plane over top the pyramids because that sim has an active pause feature, and with that active pause feature I can use the drone and move around like a moving camera similar to X-Plane and just look around and take screenshots or whatever. And then once I'm done looking around, then I'll hop back in the airplane and we'll reconnect to VATSIM and we'll get our landing clearance or use CTAF or Unicom or whatever we have to do. So I'll be legitimately, doing flight plans, and I may not sign back on if, situation dictates that I probably shouldn't sign back on. But that's my plan, is just to use the CRJ and travel the world and fly online until I get to where we want to go and then disconnect because can't pause online, obviously. All right, flight control check. We're good. Rotor check is good. Auto ignition is good. We'll turn off engine anti-ice. Landing lights, turn those on. Strobe lights are on. Trimmed, flaps are set. Engines are all in the green. We'll take this out of beta mode. Anybody in the pattern? I don't see anybody. Let's refresh our weather here. Force weather reload. Make sure everything looks like it should. And we'll grab our pitot and stall warnings. Prop sync is on. And we are ready. Okay. Which runway is this? 3, 4. Arlington traffic, King Air 1399 taking off runway 34 for a left crosswind departure, Arlington traffic. Jets on World Tour too easy? Yeah, it might be easy, but it would just add to the fun factor for me to fly an airliner and still do the World Tour because I can get to the places a little faster. And hey Gizmo, how you doing there, buddy? How's your Monday so far? Conditioner lever is full. Bring engine 50%. Props are 100%. We'll add in some torque.
Auto feather lights on. Airspeed alive.
Bring our torque up to about 89 or so because that will increase with speed.
V1. Rotate's full.
Yeah, rotate.
Positive rate.
Gear coming up. Flaps out.
Attitudes check. Gear indicates up. Flaps indicates up.
It is breezy. Alright, gear is up and flaps are up. Arlington traffic, King Air 139, exiting to the west, passing through 2000, last call, Arlington traffic. Alright, so we are climbing out of here, and we're going to turn toward Payne VOR, which is 16 nautical miles away. Not nautical, maybe it is nautical, I don't know. Reduce the prop out of the red. And we sync up the heading. And we'll turn on the autopilot, make my life a little easier, and we'll go to climb mode. We'll add in some torque. Start our climb up to 14,500. And let's see which way the Payne VOR is. So we'll turn our course selector toward the VOR. And we'll get online with that. So I need to turn left, and then we'll arm nav. That will keep us on a direct path to Payne VOR for the radios for right now. So we're heading toward Payne, slant Alpha. And let's switch to Seattle approach 120.4, at least it used to be. It might be 128.5.
11746 NorCal approach. We got an issue here. Radar contact.
I can hear him.
The Sacramento VOR. I need you to turn eastbound immediately. Please say altitude and aircraft type.
Let's see if I can hear him on 28.5. A little bit easier.
Altitude is 2,000. Aircraft Cessna 150.
Cessna 11746, Roger. Are you aware of the requirements to operate within Class Charlie airspace?
I am. Possibly exceeded them.
I'm not laughing at him.
11746.
I'm not laughing at a mistake. I'm laughing at how he said it.
What are your intentions here?
Flight aware to Little River, which is Lima Lima Romeo at 4,500.
Okay, by flight aware, do you mean flight following or radar services?
Flight following. Apologies, NorCal.
November 746, Roger. Capital altimeter is 2980, but I can't have you flying through Capital's airspace. You're in violation of the Sacramento Class Charlie airspace. VFR climb is approved. Just remain outside of the Sacramento Capital surface Class Charlie airspace, please.
Sounds like
Copy,
a violation.
11746, and thank you.
Good afternoon, Seattle approach, King Air 1399, VFR 8,000, or climbing 8,500, about 5 miles north of Payne VOR. I'd like to pick up my IFR to Portland.
Number 13999, Seattle approach, squawk 6177.
6177, 1399. 6177, enter, and you don't ident unless you are told to. Coming up to 10,000 feet, so we'll go ahead and turn off our
Number
leading lights.
13999, radar contact 3 miles north of the Payne VOR. Taking altitude leaving.
9,700, 1399.
Number 13999, Roger. Clear to Portland Airport as filed. Climb and maintain 15,000. Expect flight level 220 from center in about 2 minutes.
Climb, maintain 15,000. Expect 220 from center 1399.
139er, read back is correct. You can contact Seattle Center on 126.6.
Seattle Center 126.6, can you hear 1399? Alright, 126.6. We're checking in with our new controller, so we give our current altitude and assigned altitude. Seattle Center, King Air 1399, 1,200, climbing 15,000.
King Air 1399er, Seattle Center, climb and maintain flight level 220.
Climb maintain flight level 220, 1399. All right, we got our instruction to climb, so that is what we're doing. And we're going to transition to heading for a second, and then we're going to change this to Seattle. And we'll go back to nav. Making sure we're good to go here. I'm on GPS, FMS, climb up to 22. Keep our torque going. Turn off those. Turn that off. Landing lights are off. Auto ignition is off. Yaw damper is on. There's no icing. And we're high enough now. We'll turn off our seatbelts for our passengers. And Dad says, let me back up this chat a little bit here. You just have to install malware to do it in the new sim. Yeah. Yep. But I did a flight, by myself to, I'm going to repeat the flight because it was pretty cool, to the Eiffel Tower over Paris. And, it might be malware, but it's Microsoft and all that crap, but it's still a very pretty sim. And I'm okay with X-Plane as long as I'm flying in the PilotEdge area, because that's where I have all my money, is all in this ortho scenery that you're currently looking at. So, but if I fly overseas in X-Plane, it just looks like crap. So the new sim is just way better for visuals, and you get landmarks with the sim for free. X-Plane does not offer that. So you have to buy landmarks in X-Plane. At least with the new sim, they give it to you for free. The Eiffel Tower is there. The all these places I'm going to be going to just comes with the sim. I don't have to buy them. So that's just wonderful in itself, and it really does look good. And my point on using a 210 is you actually have an account for wind and fuel complications. Oh, I see. Okay, versus a fire and forget. Yeah. Cat rating suggestion coming in soon, and he did not tell you to ident. Oh, that was simple. Someone filed the right route. Yeah, he doesn't tell me to ident unless he really needs to. You know what I mean? Like, there's no need that you. The point of me saying that is, if someone gives you a squawk and it's your first time talking to ATC, I've heard some people will just ident just to ident, and that's wrong. You only ident when instructed to do so. So that's the only reason I said that. So the only thing you have to do is punch in your code, and then I gave the location. So that's all he needed to know. Now, if he had a whole lot of traffic around this area, which in real life I guess you would, then he might tell me to ident, so he would get the flash. But he doesn't, they don't want that flash for every time someone enters in a new code. right, we're passing through transition altitude, so we're going to go 92. Add in some torque. Coming up to Mount Rainier, I think that is. Cabin pressure is climbing. That's just because I turned off the auto feather. I guess I should turn that on, huh? I'll go ahead and arm that. That's fine. That way I'll get rid of the idiot lights. This probably needs to be on anyway. You can get landmarks for free in XP. Just go find them for free. Yes, you're right. And I've downloaded landmarks that people put on, you know, the forums for free. But if you compare them to the new sim just blows them away. I mean, even the stuff I purchased, like the Dweski design New York City, for example, that has the Statue of Liberty and all that, it does not compete with the new sim. It just doesn't. And the new sim, Statue of Liberty and the city of New York just blows away anything that X-Plane has to offer right now. And I'm not dissing this sim by any means. This is by far my go-to sim, and it is a superior sim. So I'm strictly talking just visuals. Like the visuals on that Microsoft Flight Sim is just incredible. And yeah, you're right. It is an arcade game, Gizmo. And but the Airsoft CRJ is a very good simulated CRJ. Not that I have any experience with the real thing, but I've been enjoying it. Like, I've been having fun with it. Does it fly a little wonky? Is there issues? Yeah. But, you know, you get what you get.
Here 139er, descend via the crater to arrival, port 1 landing east, and report leaving flight level 220.
Descend via the crater to arrival, landing east, and report leaving 220-1399. Alright, let me back off this prop a little bit. 16 and a half. And we'll keep our torque at about 88 for right now. We'll back off our conditioner levers. And VNAV, we want 1500. Got 6-minute top descent, more like 5 minutes because we were hauling butt with this tailwind, which is a 52 knot tailwind. Let's take out our tables for our passengers here. iPads for everybody. Give this lady a table and an iPad. We'll give them a table. No iPad for them.
Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, contact LA Center on 133.2.
It's not a sim nor arcade game, it's malware.
33.2.
You're going to stick to that, aren't you, Das? No breaking you on that. Tell us how you feel, buddy. Don't hold back. Eye candy, Gizmo says. My man has it saying you can make any old Chevy look brand new with enough paint, but underneath it's still a piece of junk. Hey, I agree. Ghost Pilot says I had that as a headwind coming up from Medford. Yeah, that's why I'm heading south instead of north, because my first thought was to do a TBM flight from Pearson Field, which, you know, you guys know I have, which is next to Portland. And I was going to do a Pearson Field TBM flight and fly it all the way to Darrington because it's just beautiful weather for that. But I didn't want to fight that headwind. So that's why I changed my mind, decided to go with the Arlington route southbound. So it's the same thing about makeup that people wear. Gizmo, I have an whole Germany Z117 ortho and landmarks is practically the same candy. Yes, if you have the right shaders, I think. Like, I don't have any special shaders, but if you have the right shaders and the right ortho,
no problem. Those are all
then you can make X-Plane look like just about the same as Microsoft. I do agree. But you have to have everything dialed in perfectly, and I don't have everything, and I especially don't have anything for overseas. So that's why, you know, that's why I say for me to do my world tour overseas, I would just rather do it in the new sim, because that way I don't have to worry about downloading, you know, hundreds of gigs of ortho, whether it be free or payware from Orbix. You know, with the new sim, I just go and it looks good. So, but you're right. I mean, you can make X-Plane look really good, but you have to have the shaders, and I just use stock shaders. I don't use any of that other stuff. I have ortho, and I have a cloud system for X-Plane, and that's it. And speaking of visuals, I prefer the SkyMax Pro clouds.
Vertical track.
I'm using version 492, which is the old version, because I like it. All right, we're gonna he said descend via, so we're gonna descend to 10,000. And we're gonna hit VS. That'll give me a descend. We're gonna take out the torque. I'm gonna let him know we are descending. Seattle Center, King Air 1399 is leaving 220.
Ray 276 Echo, you'll need to give your destination. I got Kilo Juliet Alpha Kilo Quebec, which is too many characters. Maintain VFR squawk 0752.
Helms is 11,000. That's fine. So we'll set for 11,000.
76 Echo, 76 Echo squawk 0752.
I need to figure out Portland's altitude is 23 feet, and the pressure there is 3022. 3022 plus 200. So we'll do plus 200. So 223 on that. 223. So we'll set this for 223 feet. Apparently I'm loading in scenery. 223. Seattle Center, King Air 1399. I have left 220. And we've got 3022. Cabin pressure is dropping, so we're good to go there. are going to looking at 11,000 for hounds. That's what I'm descending for right now. Move that. Keep that out of the way for right now, actually. So let's keep it about 1,200. And Portland's weather PDX. So I'm gonna have to look up an approach here that I'm gonna do. Probably do an RNAV approach. And that says you'll never get me to really change my mind on Microsoft. I'll go without a computer if they were the only option. Oh man. Helens. As in Mount St. Helens you're about to fly by. Oh. That's Mount St. Helens. So this is this Mount Rainier? I know Mount Rainier is close to Portland. So that's Mount St. Helens. Okay. So we're descending. I've got the cabin pressure set. So altimeter is
I'll need it again. I'm still not seeing your assigned code. Number 76 Echo, squawk 0, 7, 5, 2, please. So we'll handle everything else.
Portland, let's do RNAV Yankee 10 left. So that would be approach 10 left. Where's that at? Yankee, we're gonna do a LPV approach. LPV, which is like a glide slope for an ILS, except it's an RNAV approach. And we'll just ask for RNAV from Buxom. RNAV Yankee. So missed approach procedure for that. Climb to 800, then left turn to 4200, direct to battleground VOR and hold. So if we need to go missed, we come back out, fly up here, and hold there at 4,200 feet. Our minimums is 300 radar, 296 MSL.
Altimeter 2980. Verify your altitude and your
final
destination,
approach
please.
fix is Blazer at 2,000 feet. And minimums, like I said, is 300. So that's going to be the approach that I'm going to punch in here.
I really need the code. You can, it doesn't matter.
You know, that explains too why this waypoint is Helens. I've never figured that out before.
Perfect. The first time
it's
you gave
big.
it to me,
It's the one that erupted in the 80s.
Kilo, Quebec,
oh yeah, I remember that.
That's why there was confusion.
I'm hearing about it.
And
love to visit
what altitude are you going to
Portland one day. Yeah, you and me both, buddy.
Stop on me. What
good
altitude are you
music,
going to fly?
scene, good food, and good beer from what I hear. And that's, yeah, we had issues in Kansas City from that eruption. That shit, the jet stream and fell on us all the way. Really? Holy cow. Voodoo donuts too? What is a voodoo donut? What is in that? That sounds good.
You can expect that then.
What, now this looks like an erupted volcano. Is that Mount St. Helens? Or was it the one I passed back there?
139er contact Portland approach on 124.35.
Portland approach 124.35, 1399. 124.35. And ATIS is 128. $28.35.
310. Sky condition clear. Temperature 8. Dew point 0. Altimeter 3023. Arriving and departing runways 10 left, 10 right. Visual approaches in use. Simultaneous approaches to parallel runways in use. VFR departures contact clearance delivery. Advise on heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information India. Portland International Airport. 8 is information India. 14.
Portland approach, King Air 1399, descending via the crater 2 at 12000, current with India. Request Arnav Yankee 10 left from Boxham.
November 139er, Portland approach. Thanks for all and expect Arnav Yankee runway 10 left approach.
Roger, I can plan on that. 1399.
Walker 540
It's the one you're coming to. So this must be Mount St. Helens then, because it sure looks like it erupted in the 80s. That's for sure. A freaking font of useless local information. You're gonna come in handy when 7 Lima Yankee and I comes up there, or over there. You have to show us around.
I'll get back to you with the clearance start.
Playmo, that's Helens. You can see it caved in from the eruption. Yeah, that's what I was just seeing. That's crazy.
Okay. Had another controller that asked me to, so
it's really cool.
I'll remember that. Thank you. Only if you're IFR. If you're VFR, could you imagine if every VFR aircraft called from a non-towered field to advise they were down?
I shouldn't laugh. I should not laugh. That's mean. Alright, crater is... We're okay, this altitude for crater.
3694 at the south ramp, holding short of taxiway Bravo with information, Yankee.
Only if you pay me $15 million to go for an hour.
3694 Seattle ground.
It's great to see St. Helens. It's still smoking. Is it really? Wow. Don't mind at all. Boston is more or less a light Portland. Yeah, these water towns are really cool. Portland's probably my favorite airport to fly in and out of on this network.
Skyhawk 76 Echo, like to increase altitude to 3,500.
76 Echo, you're not
I just love the visuals in this area. That's why I like going to North Bend, even though you taught me the other day that North Bend is like a dive city. But it looks awesome coming into an approach on X-plane. Alright, our next restriction is coming up to between 7 and 9 at Hiker, so we'll bring this to, how about 8? And we're coming up to crater at 2 miles, so once we pass that, we'll start on our way down again to crater. And I'll need to get the start now. Take out the power, and then we'll go to procedure and approach. Do RNAV 10 left from Boxham. So I'm going to put in Peter, whatever that is. I'm just going to load it, not going to fly it. Hikers between that and that. But yeah, I love flying in this area. Looks like next final approach is usually 126.9, so we'll get that ready. 126.9er. Cabin pressure is still dropping. Yep. Let's come back here and we'll stow our tables for our passengers. And then we'll jump up here. No iPad for you. No more table for you. We need to turn on our seatbelts. Seatbelts. And we got our seatbelt signs on.
And November 76, you're leaving my coverage area now, and I've got no traffic observed between you and your destination. Radar service is terminated. Squawk and maintain VFR. Frequency changes approved.
Sync up the heading bug
Squawk
there.
VFR, Skyhawk 8276 Echo.
Need to refresh my weather so everything looks like it should. I like doing that in the beginning of the flight and at the end of the flight. That way all my weather stations are putting clouds where they need to be. You'll need to retire after dealing with them for an hour just to get enough mental help. Oh, Marcus, yeah. Wait, what was that guy on ATC and being done? You know, I didn't hear that. I was probably busy. I need to turn up the ATC volume a little bit. Out of fight to Vermont on MS one day. Beautiful scenery there as well. Oh yeah, flight out of Vermont. Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, we got Voodoo is next at 5,000. So we're gonna go down to 5,000. Hit the send button. Descend. Got 8 miles to Voodoo. At 5,000 at 210. And then we'll just follow this. So I'm actually going to set my heading for 278. That way I'm just already there. 278. So I should be lined up. Although he'll probably like take me off this arrival before I even get there. That'd be my luck. But that's right, I'll just resync the heading bug if need be. And we are below 10,000, so we'll just go ahead and pop on some lights. Turn on auto ignition at this point. And seatbelts are on, auto ignition is on. I'll upload this to my YouTube, so anyone that's watching this on YouTube, please click that like, thumbs up thing. Technical words, as you guys know I am. But yeah, if you hit that like button, it will help get my videos out to other flight sim enthusiasts. Alright. Winds are 080 at about 15 knots.
694, holding short runway 34 right at Bravo, ready for departure.
Delta 3694, Seattle Tower, runway 34 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway 34 right, clear for takeoff, Delta 3694.
So,
Number 139, lander, turn right heading 280, vectors to Buxom, descend and maintain 3000.
right turn 280, vectors for Buxom, descend and maintain 3000, 1399. 280 will go heading, because we're already turning that way anyway. 3000, drop this to 3000, we're still descending. 280, and I'll activate Buxom. There's descent. And we'll do... go. Because Buxom is yeah, that's right. Okay. So we'll be good to go. Going down to 3,000. Some marshland here, huh? to set those markers. It's always roughly the same. This VREF might change a smidgen depending on pond weight, but...
For 139 there, clear direct Buxom, cross Buxom at 3000, clear RNAV Yankee runway 10 left approach.
Clear direct Buxom, cross Buxom at 3000, cleared RNAV Yankee 10 left approach, 1399.
Delta 3694, contact departure.
Contact departure, Delta 3694.
All right, we're just going to do a heading toward Buxom. We'll do conditioner levers full. And we'll do 180 knots. So we'll do flaps 1. And let's make sure I am heading toward Buxom, which looks like
After departure, Delta 3694.
I am. I could do a direct 2.
3694, Seattle departure, radar contact, climb maintain 15,000.
Could do a direct
Climb
2.
maintain 15,000, Delta 3694.
Let's just do that. Do a direct 2. I'll activate nav. So now I am on FMS again. So we'll go straight to Buxom, and then we'll turn final, which don't need that no more. Don't need that. Portland approach. RNAV Yankee 10 left. Alright. So at trail, we can go down to 2,900. So I'm just going to hold 3,000 because you can be above that. You don't have to be at 2,900. So once we pass trail, then I'll descend to 2,000. And then I'll hit approach. And then we'll take it down to minimums, which in this case for an LPV is 296 MSL or 266 radar altitude. So like I said, we'll wait till after we get past this next one. And tower for this runway, tower
for 1399, contact Portland Tower.
Over to Portland Tower 1399. Portland Tower 10 left is 18.7. 18.7. Portland Tower, King Air 1399, RNAV 10 left.
For 1399, Portland Tower, runway 10 left, clear to land, wind 090 at 14, gust 19er.
10 left, clear to land, 1399. It's gusty winds out of the crosswind, so I'm going to do 2 full flaps, but I have to come in a little bit faster because of the wind shear. Let's sync up the heading bug. Got about a little bit to trail, and then we'll descend to 2,000. Now, there we go. Hit the descend button. Slow down to 2,000, then I'll hit the approach button. We'll do gear down and all that nonsense. Here comes Pearson Field, which is the airport I was originally going to fly out of, which is this one here.
Salt Lake Center, squawk 6216, say destination.
Alright, we're underneath the glide path as referred to in RNAV approach. Glide slope is instrument precision. ILS is precision approach. Alright, there's 2,000 feet. So I'm going to arm approach with VNAV ready. And then there's 160 knots. We're going to go. Once that captures, we'll do gear down. And there is our There's our capture, so we're going to do gear down, props full,
First up, 1 Fox Sierra, negative radar contact verified,
flaps
transponder
full. And we'll let the GPS do the missed approach if needed, but missed approach altitude is 4,200. So 4,200 for missed.
Contact South Center 125.1, Delta 3690.
1,000 feet to minimums.
And we've got a little bit of a left crosswind that it's not too crazy. Wind 080 at 15. So here's Pearson Field. The city of Pearson too. The guy that made this airport also made this airport. He made both Portland and Pearson. Same guy. You can buy them both on Flightbeam. No, I think Portland's on Flightbeam and I think Pearson is on Orbix. But you can find Pearson on either Orbix or Flightbeam. I think it's Orbix though. But he does the buildings and everything. Train. Alright, I'm going to disengage the autopilot at 500 radar. And we're going to hand fly it from there.
100 feet to minimums.
Trying to get my airport diagram up.
Minimums.
And Atlantic. Alright. Autopilot off. My plane. Keep rolling in some trim. That sounds like a night out. Huh?
Here. I'm still not picking up on radar. I won't be able to provide flight following unless you get the transponder working.
Alright, we got 3 green. I should have done that earlier. Flaps are good. And my god, this is blowing me off the runway here. Have to do a left crosswind correction.
100 feet.
Stay on the left side here.
Props full.
Hard landing. Reversers. It's 279 feet per minute. A little bit harder than I usually do, but firm landing. It's alright. So I'm putting crosswind deflection or whatever you call it in here.
40 knots.
Back that off a little bit. Alright, and flaps up. Always stop after the stop bar, not before. Portland Tower, King Air 1399, looking for Atlantic.
1399, taxi parking via Alpha, good day.
Parking via Alpha 1399, CL. Alright, so yeah, that's Atlantic. Just go straight ahead. Turn those off. Turn on landing lights. Pitot stall warnings. Engine anti-ice on. And we didn't switch to ground because tower didn't tell us to. You never switch to ground unless tower tells you to. You do switch from ground to tower without permission when you're taking off, but after you land, you only switch to ground if tower instructs you to, because of some airports have parallel runways and such, runway crossings, so you may need to stick with tower. So they don't want people to get into a habit of changing frequencies on their own.
Fokker 540, ready to search surveys, clock the bar, 50 times approved today.
All right. Taxi, Reco, park and brake is on. Turn off the seatbelts, coffee maker, and furnace up top. Shut down our environment. Well, first, D is 0. Turn off environment, turn off the pressurization. All that is good to go. And we'll take this out of the beta mode. Turn off the oxygen. Turn prop sync off. Turn off the avionics, EFIS switches, power inverters. Turn all that off. Feather the props. And now we can do fuel cutoff. Turn off the battery. Close that. There we go.
Disconnected.
All right, let me see what I missed here. As Steve would say, smash the thumbs up button. Yeah, smash that thumbs up button. That's Peter on the radio. Haven't heard his voice in a while. Yeah, I've heard him in the evenings in the ZLA. So it's interesting that he's flying in the Western expansion tonight, or to this afternoon. He earns that by using his drone and GoPro shots. I had Peter the other day. It pleased my eardrums. Yeah, he's a pretty laid-back guy. Brace for impact. Hold sign return, writing via crayon. It says helps us. Is it the case that you don't switch to tower? Isn't there a case that you don't switch to tower if, say, taking off 20 right, but they are using you hold short on 20? If you're holding short a runway, whether like if you're taking off 20 right, but you're holding short 20 left, similar to say John Wayne or something, then you still switch to tower when you're holding short 20 left. Even though you still need to taxi, the tower will give you instruction to taxi across an active runway. I think you're still supposed to let ground know you're holding, and then they may have you go to tower and cross. Nope. The only time you have to do that is if ground control tells you to remain with them. That's the only time that I can think of that you would have to remain with ground. Otherwise, every time I've done it, I just switch a tower on my own. And 7 Lima Yankee says, from his experience, you switch a tower, then they clear you to cross 20 left and clear you for takeoff via. Right. So, for example, yesterday I flew from Grand Junction, and I had to hold short runway 22, and then 29er was my takeoff. So once I got to runway 22, I switched a tower on my own, and tower told me runway 29er via runway 22 cleared for takeoff. So whenever you cross a runway, you always would be with tower. Maybe not always, but like the only time you don't is like Yakima Air Station or even Portland. You know, they may say if ground gives you a taxi instruction, and if they give you an instruction to cross a runway within the taxi instruction, then there is no need to switch to tower upon that runway, because chances are that runway is not an active runway. The only time that they really make you go to tower is for active runways. So if ground control tells you to taxi and cross a runway via a taxiway, at that point you don't go to tower under those circumstances. You would only go to tower when you're holding short of an active runway. So like Portland, for example. So this is runway 21, which presently I think is closed. Not 100% about that, but it has been closed. So they may say taxi 10 left via Kilo, cross runway 21 at Kilo. If ground control tells you that, then you don't hold short of 21 to switch the tower. You stay with ground until you're holding short 10 left. You only switch the tower on your own when you're holding short of an active runway. So if ground tells you to cross 21 at Kilo, then you stick with ground. Whatever ground says you can do, you stick with ground. Wherever ground's instruction ends, and in this case 10 left at Kilo, that's when you switch the tower. Whenever the ground control instruction ends is when you start to switch the tower on your own. That's probably the easiest way to do it, because if I'm doing FedEx, they'll tell me to taxi to 10 right from the south ramp. So they'll say, ground control will say taxi to 10 right via Echo Charlie cross runway 21 at Charlie. So in that case, I'll be on my FedEx plane, usually my A300, and I'll come down here and I'll make a left turn, and I'll stay with ground, and I won't hold short. I'll just cross over the runway, because my taxi instruction included a crossing instruction within the taxi instruction, which means there is no need to switch to tower upon reaching runway 21. If they say hold short runway 21, then, unless I'm given further instruction by ground control, then I would switch to tower upon reaching 21 to get my clearance to cross it from tower. Boston is a big one on that. Boston does that all the time on VATSIM, where you have to, like, sometimes they'll give you stages too. They'll say hold short runway 21, right? So then you get to about here, and then the ground control will say continue taxi, cross 21 at Charlie. So then, even then, you don't switch a tower. You only switch a tower at the completion of your taxi instruction. Hopefully that makes sense. You could have swore you heard someone being told not to automatically switch. If you hear that 9 out of 10 times, you hear that when people are switching from tower to ground on their own after landing. Because after landing, the only time you're allowed to switch to ground is when tower tells you to. So when you're hearing that, that's usually the case, is that people are landing and switching to ground without permission. Autocorrect failed. To sum it all up, do whatever the F you were told. Yeah, that's a good summary. All right, guys, I appreciate the chat as always. And I'm not going to do a replay today because I am needing to run to the restroom, honestly. So I will talk to y'all later, and we'll see you soon. Y'all take care. Good stuff as always. Thanks, Coach Pilot. See you guys.
Center 125.9er, good day. American 1316, contact Denver Center 133.905, good day.
Destination 63, visit approach 835, right? So 5166, contact tower 133.3.
Hey, 5166.
Sir 4331, turn left heading 330.